5 money moves you can't afford to ignore. Imagine waking up to see 40% of your wealth vanish overnight. That's exactly what happened to the average American during the last recession, while a small percentage of people actually increased their net worth by 20% or more. The difference wasn't luck, it was preparation. In today's video, I'm breaking down the 5 specific money moves that can protect you during economic downturns. With a 47% recession probability looming, ask yourself, is your financial house ready? Think of these moves as the bricks in your financial fortress, each one critical to weathering the storm before most people even see it coming. The cash cushion that saved Sarah $12,000. Sarah was stocking shelves at Target when COVID hit in 2020. She watched coworkers panic as hours got slashed, but she stayed calm. Why? Because Sarah had built a safety net, $18,000 spread across 3 high-yield savings accounts earning 3.2% interest. That cushion turned what could have been a financial disaster into a manageable challenge when her hours were cut in half. While others scrambled, she had peace of mind. Most people misunderstand emergency funds. They think tossing a few $100s into a savings account is enough. But when layoffs hit or the economy tanks, you need a real safety net, 3 to 6 months of living expenses at minimum. The average American has just $400 for emergencies, which isn't nearly enough to weather a storm like 2020. Sarah didn't have a 6-figure salary. She earned $35,000 a year. Yet, in just 22 months, she built that $18,000 cushion using a simple high-yield savings account, HYSA, ladder strategy. Here's how she did it. 1. She researched the best high-yield savings rates, which are currently between 4 to 5% APY at banks like Ally, Marcus, and Discover. 2. She split her savings across 3 accounts with different withdrawal terms to maximize interest while keeping some funds easily accessible. 3. She kept $2,000 in physical cash at home for emergencies, stored in a fireproof lockbox. Her allocation looked like this. 4 months of rent and utilities, $6,000, in a 4.5% HYSA. 3 months of food and gas, $3,600, in a 4.3% HYSA. $3,400 as a buffer in a liquid 4% account. $2,000 in cash for immediate access. This setup ensured she had both liquidity and growth, plus a backup plan for situations like ATM withdrawal limits or reduced bank services during the shutdowns. Now, let's calculate your recession-proof cash number. Start by grabbing your last 3 bank statements. Add up all essential expenses, rent, utilities, food, insurance, and minimum debt payments. Multiply that total by 4. That's your bare minimum target. If you earn more than $50,000 annually, add another month's buffer for every $10,000 above that. Here's why Sarah's strategy worked so well. 1. The interest earned her $516 in 1 year. 2. She avoided $6,300 in credit card debt her coworkers took on. 3. She negotiated a 15% rent discount by offering 6 months rent up front. 4. She bought a gently used car for 40% below pre-pandemic prices when others were desperate. But here's the thing, cash alone won't protect you. That credit card statement sitting in your drawer? It's your next financial landmine if the economy tanks. We'll tackle that debt situation next. Mike's debt avalanche that crushed $35,000. Mike was pulling $120,000 at a hot Silicon Valley startup when the layoff email hit. That 6-figure salary evaporated overnight, leaving him staring at $35,000 in credit card debt with interest rates ranging from 19% to 29%. What do you do when every dollar feels like it's burning a hole in your pocket? What happened next proves you don't need a tech salary to crush debt. You just need the right system. Here's the cold truth. Credit card debt is the most dangerous kind of debt in a recession. When Mike lost his job, those minimum payments immediately became unmanageable. The average credit card APR right now is 24%, far higher than mortgage rates at 7% or federal student loans at 5 to 6%. If your income drops, credit card debt can spiral out of control faster than anything else. Mike knew he needed to act fast. He made a spreadsheet listing every single debt, ranked from highest to lowest interest rate. At the top, a $15,000 balance at 29.9% APR. Just making minimum payments, That single debt would take 32 years to pay off and cost $43,000 in interest alone. That's when Mike switched to the Avalanche method, paying minimums on everything except the highest rate debt, which got every spare dollar. The math doesn't lie. Compare these two scenarios. 1. Paying $500 per month across all debts equally. 11 years to pay off, $28,000 paid in interest. 2. Avalanche method with the same $500. 3 years 4 months, $6,200 in interest. At first, the Avalanche method felt overwhelming. Mike admitted it was hard to stay motivated when the numbers seemed so big. But one night, staring at his spreadsheet, he realized something. Every extra dollar he threw at that 29.9% debt wasn't just reducing the balance. It was buying back his freedom. That mindset shift turned his frustration into determination. He started treating every payment like a small victory, and that kept him going. But here's where most people screw up. Mike didn't just throw money at debt randomly. He used a Google Sheets template that automatically calculated payoff dates based on different payment scenarios. Every dollar had a job. Even small windfalls, like a $37 Starbucks gift card from his aunt, went straight to the $15,000 monster balance. While Mike was laser-focused on credit cards, he made a strategic decision to keep paying only the minimum on his $28,000 student loan at 5.2%. Why? Federal student loans have protections like income-based repayment that credit cards don't. If things got worse, he could have paused those payments entirely. 3 moves supercharged Mike's debt payoff. 1. He called every credit card company insisting on lower rates, and got 2 out of 5 to drop rates by 5 to 8%. 2. Transferred $7,000 to a 0% APR balance transfer card. 3. Used unemployment checks to cover rent while funneling 100% of his freelance income to debt. The turning point came when Mike landed occasional freelance gigs. Instead of upgrading his lifestyle, he lived on rice and beans and put every extra cent toward debt. $250 website design job. Debt payment. $800 consulting fee. Debt payment. His spreadsheet showed exactly how each payment moved the finish line closer. 18 months later, in the middle of a recession, Mike made his final $1,200 payment. That $35,000 debt was gone, and he'd saved over $21,000 in future interest. Today, he keeps one credit card with a $500 limit for emergencies only. Want to try this yourself? Download Mike's exact debt tracking spreadsheet from the link below. Enter your balances and rates, and it will show you payoff dates for Avalanche versus Snowball methods. Warning, seeing how much interest you're wasting might physically hurt at first. Now let's talk investments, because Elena's story proves that recessions aren't just about surviving. They're about getting richer while others panic. She turned a 30% portfolio loss into 12% gains using 3 simple moves anyone can copy. Elena's recession-proof portfolio play. Elena's 401k statement from October 2008 still gives her chills. In just 12 months, her retirement account lost 30% of its value, while hedge fund managers she read about were making bank. That's when she realized something critical. Recessions aren't just about losing money. They're about transferring wealth to those who know where to look. It was a wake-up call that transformed how she approached investing. Think of your portfolio as a ship weathering a storm. A sturdy ship can navigate rough waters, but only if it's built to handle the conditions. Traditional set it and forget it investing often sinks during downturns. The S&P 500 fell 57% between 2007 and 2009, and it took over 4 years, until 2012, for markets to recover to pre-crash levels. Meanwhile, hedge funds specializing in distressed assets, gold, and consumer staples quietly thrived, proving that diversification and strategy are key to staying afloat. Here's what today's market tells us. The S&P's current PE ratio sits around 28, well above the historical average of 16. Translation: stocks are expensive relative to earnings, which often signals a correction is coming. But recessions also create incredible buying opportunities, if you know which sectors can weather the storm. Consumer staples, utilities, and healthcare are like the ballast of your ship, keeping it steady when the waves get rough. These sectors historically outperform during downturns because people still buy toothpaste, pay electric bills, and need medical care even when the economy tanks. During 2008, These sectors outperformed the broader market by 15 to 20%. Right now, companies like Procter & Gamble, 2.5% dividend yield, NextEra Energy, 2.7% yield, and Johnson & Johnson, 3.1% yield, offer both stability and income, making them strong candidates for recession-proofing your portfolio. Gold, often dismissed as a relic, is more like an anchor. The SPDR Gold Shares ETF, GLD, gained 24% during the 2008 crash while stocks plummeted. Gold tends to rise when investors flee risky assets, and with current inflation fears, it's even more relevant. The metal surged 25% during 2022's high inflation period, proving its value as a hedge against uncertainty. Elena also learned that having a cash cushion was critical to making smart investment decisions. She kept 12 months of expenses in high-yield savings, double her usual emergency fund, before touching her portfolio. Why? Because selling investments at fire sale prices to cover bills is a surefire way to lock in losses. Her cash reserve gave her the flexibility to seize opportunities others missed. Here's how she restructured her portfolio to weather the storm. 1. She allocated 30% to dividend aristocrats, stocks with 25-plus years of increasing payouts, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. 2. She put 15% into gold ETFs, GLD, and silver, SLV, to hedge against inflation and market volatility. 3. She moved 20% into short-term treasury bills yielding over 5%, which provided both income and a safety net. 4. She kept 25% in low-cost index funds, but only added new money when markets dropped by 10% or more. 5. Finally, she reserved 10% for bargain hunting, ready to buy specific stocks if they crashed. This strategy wasn't just about percentages, it was about balance. For example, that 20% allocation to short-term treasuries served two purposes. First, with yields above 5%, they outpaced inflation, which currently sits at 3.4%. Second, if stocks collapsed, she could sell treasuries, whose value typically rises when stocks fall, to buy discounted equities. It was a calculated move that gave her both stability and flexibility. Diversification, as Elena discovered, is the ultimate defense against market volatility. By spreading her investments across sectors and asset classes, she ensured that no single downturn could sink her portfolio. And the results speak for themselves. Her strategy delivered a 12% return during 2008 to 2010, while most portfolios bled red. If you're looking to recession-proof your portfolio, here are some actionable steps. 1. Run the numbers on your emergency fund. It should cover 9 to 12 months of expenses before you invest. 2. Check your sector exposure and aim for 25 to 30% in consumer staples, healthcare, and utilities. 3. Look up your stock's P/E ratios. Anything above 25 warrants caution. 4. Consider allocating 5 to 15% to gold or silver through low-cost ETFs. 5. Shift some bonds to short-term treasuries, which are currently yielding over 5% with less risk. Elena's disciplined approach paid off in more ways than one. Those dividend aristocrats provided her with steady cash flow, paying her quarterly even as stock prices swung wildly. Her gold allocation protected her portfolio from inflation fears, and her cash reserve allowed her to buy Disney shares at $18, now $100 plus, and Amazon at $50, now $175 plus. These weren't lucky guesses. They were the result of a clear, methodical plan. The biggest mistake people make is treating investing like a spectator sport. Elena didn't check her portfolio daily or panic sell when markets dipped. Instead, she reviewed her investments once a month and stuck to her predetermined allocation plan. When markets crashed, she systematically deployed cash, buying assets at steep discounts. Emotional investors lost their shirts. Disciplined investors like Elena bought those shirts at 70% off. But here's the thing. Even the smartest investment strategy isn't enough if you've only got one income stream. The real pros diversify their earnings before they ever touch their portfolios, which brings us to David, who turned a layoff into more money than his old salary. David's 3 income streams that can't be laid off. David walked out of his office with a cardboard box and a final paycheck that Tuesday morning. The shock hit him like a freight train. One moment, he was a marketing manager with a steady $72,000 salary, and the next, he was unemployed with no backup plan. By Friday, though, he was already earning $217 more per week than his old job. That layoff wasn't just a setback. It became the wake-up call that pushed him to build a recession-proof income system. If David can flip a layoff into extra income in just days, imagine what you can do today. Here's the hard truth. Relying on a single income stream is a gamble you can't afford to take. Layoffs spiked 400% in late 2022, with tech companies alone cutting over 150,000 jobs. David realized something terrifying when he lost his job. No matter how good you are, one corporate decision can erase 100% of your income overnight. But here's the opportunity. The gig economy grew 23% during the last recession for a reason. Platforms like Upwork report freelancers earning an average of $28 per hour. That's $58,000 annually at just 20 hours per week. Tutors on OutSchool make $40 to $80 per hour teaching everything from Minecraft coding to algebra. Even Amazon FBA sellers saw 34% more sales during 2020's downturn as people shifted to online shopping. David built a three-part income system that thrived in tough times by combining skills he already had with opportunities that grow during recessions. 1. Freelance writing through Upwork. 2. Selling Excel tutorials on Udemy. 3. Reselling used textbooks via Amazon FBA. Here's why this system worked so well. Businesses still need marketing content during recessions. They just hire freelancers instead of full-time staff. David used his corporate writing experience to land 6 steady clients in 2 weeks. His strategy? He searched Upwork for companies that had posted jobs but hadn't hired anyone yet. These were the clients most desperate for help. For his Udemy course, David spent just 4 hours creating a beginner-friendly Excel tutorial using PowerPoint screen recordings. Online course enrollment jumps 15 to 20% during recessions as people look to learn new skills. His $29.99 course nets him $21 per sale after Udemy's cut. With just 3 to 4 sales per day, he earns an extra $2,000 every quarter from work he did once. The Amazon FBA play turned out to be his surprise moneymaker. David bought used college textbooks from library sales and thrift stores for $3 to $5 each, then resold them for $30 to $80 on Amazon. Textbook prices rarely drop in recessions because students always need them. Using the Amazon Seller app, he scanned ISBNs to instantly see which books were profitable. In his first month, he made $387 profit working just weekends. Now let's talk about how you can start building your own recession-resistant income streams this weekend. Here are 3 simple options to get you started. Option 1. The 48-hour freelance profile. Create an Upwork or Fiverr account tonight. List 3 skills you already have: writing, spreadsheets, graphic design. Browse job postings to see what clients are looking for. Record a 90-second intro video with your phone to showcase your personality and skills. 850-plus freelancers land their first gig within 72 hours of joining these platforms. Option 2. The garage sale goldmine. Download the Amazon Seller app. Visit local thrift stores or library sales on Saturday morning. Scan barcodes on books, movies, or video games to find items with a $10 plus profit margin. List your finds on Amazon Sunday night using your phone. The average reseller makes $23 profit per item, and you can start with as little as $20. Option 3. The digital product sprint. Pick a simple skill you can teach: knitting, car maintenance, TikTok editing. Record 10 short lessons with your phone. No fancy equipment needed. Upload your course to Udemy or Skillshare by Saturday afternoon. Share the link in social media groups or forums where your audience hangs out. Even beginners can earn $200 to $500 from their first course. Here's the emergency income hierarchy for recessions. Tier 1, immediate cash, freelancing, gig apps. Tier 2, passive income, courses, ebooks, affiliate links. Tier 3, physical products, reselling, crafts, consulting. David's system works because it's diversified. When freelance projects slowed in January, his Udemy income actually increased as people tackled New Year's resolutions. When textbook sales dipped during summer, corporate clients needed extra help with end-of-quarter reports. This balance meant he never had a month earning less than his old salary after the initial setup. But the real transformation wasn't just financial, it was psychological. When David got laid off, he panicked. He spent the first week sending out resumes, only to realize no one was hiring. By week 2, he shifted his mindset. Instead of waiting for someone to give him a job, he started offering his skills directly to people who needed them. That shift, from employee to business owner, changed everything. Today, David earns $112,000 across all 3 income streams, working just 35 hours a week. If the economy crashes tomorrow, here's your Saturday project list. 1. Inventory your marketable skills, even basic Excel counts. 2. Set up 1 income stream from each tier above. 3. Calculate your monthly survival number, the minimum you need to cover expenses. 4. Test pricing with your first 3 gigs or products. The hardest part isn't the work, it's starting before you feel desperate. David wishes he'd built these streams while he was still employed. Right now, you have an advantage he didn't. Time to prepare before disaster strikes. But none of this matters if you're bleeding money through hidden budget leaks. What Lisa discovered about her Lisa's 50/30/20 emergency budget rule. Lisa opened her banking app one Tuesday night and nearly dropped her phone. In 3 months of transactions, she found 12 charges totaling $1,200. Subscriptions she forgot about, impulse purchases, and recurring bills that had crept up unnoticed. She prided herself on being financially savvy, but seeing nearly 15% of her take-home pay vanish into what felt like invisible leaks left her stunned and frustrated. Normal budgeting often fails when paychecks disappear. The average household wastes 12% of income on non-essentials they wouldn't miss in a crisis. Inflation on discretionary items, 5.2%, is outpacing necessities, 3.8%, meaning your morning latte costs more while your paycheck buys less. Lisa realized her $489 car payment, locked in before interest rates soared, was eating 18% of her income when rideshares would have cost half that. Here's where most budgets break during recessions. People track general categories like food or entertainment without separating survival spending from nice-to-haves. Lisa's groceries category included $87 per month for gourmet coffee beans and organic snacks. Her transportation line hit a $129 per month detailing subscription for a car she barely drove. These weren't bad purchases until her freelance income dropped by 40% and she needed every dollar. The wake-up call came when Lisa tried the 50/30/20 emergency budget. Unlike the standard version, needs/wants/savings, this recession-proof twist forces ruthless prioritization. 50%, absolute survival essentials, housing, utilities, basic groceries, minimum debt payments. 30%, secured obligations, car loan if needed for work, health insurance, cell phone. 20%, everything else, subscriptions, dining out, hobbies. Lisa's first step was running the numbers on her own expenses. 1. Listing every fixed cost that would trigger penalties if unpaid, rent, mortgage, car note. 2. Identifying true nutritional essentials, eggs, rice, veggies, not DoorDash. 3. Highlighting services she could cancel today with one click, streaming, apps, memberships. She uncovered 3 budget bombshells. Her cheap $14.99 per month gym membership had a $120 annual fee she'd missed. Auto-renewing software subscriptions totaled $83 per month for tools she barely used. Insurance rates had jumped 22% without her noticing. Armed with this data, Lisa took immediate action. She used a simple script to renegotiate bills, calling each provider and saying, "I'm reviewing my budget and can't justify this cost anymore. I see competitors offering specific deal. Can you match that or suggest options?" This approach worked on. Internet bill reduced from $89 to $55 per month. Car insurance saved $37 per month by increasing her deductible. Phone plan switched to prepaid, saving $30 per month. Her car was the toughest decision. That $489 payment, plus $238 for insurance and $110 for gas, totaled $837 per month. Selling it would have cost $3,000 in negative equity, so she compromised. 1. Refinanced the loan, dropping her payment to $411. 2. Switched to pay-per-mile insurance, saving $61 per month. 3. Started ride-sharing 10 hours per week to offset costs. The 50/30/20 emergency rule exposed dangerous spending ratios. If your survival 50% exceeds half your income, you're one missed paycheck from crisis. Lisa's adjustments freed up $1,472 per month, enough to cover her basic needs if her income dropped to minimum wage. Here's how to implement this today. 1. Open your last 3 bank statements. 2. Highlight every charge that isn't essential to survival. 3. Calculate what percentage of income goes to true needs. 4. For any category over 50%, identify 3 potential cuts. Current inflation makes this even more critical. While grocery prices rose 3.4% overall, budget staples like eggs, 8.9%, and bread, 5.7%, spiked higher. Lisa switched to store brands, bulk bins, and shopping after 7 p.m. when perishables get marked down. Her grocery bill dropped from $580 to $347 per month without sacrificing nutrition. The psychological trap? Thinking small expenses don't matter. That $9.99 streaming service seems trivial until you realize it's part of $137 per month in subscriptions. Lisa found 12 recurring charges totaling $411 annually that she couldn't recall signing up for. Now she does a subscription audit every 3 months using the Rocket Money app. Your car is likely the biggest liability. The average new car payment hit $742 per month in 2023, nearly 20% of take-home pay for median earners. If yours exceeds 10% of income, consider refinancing. Rates dropped 1 to 2% since 2022. Switching to usage-based insurance like Metromile. Lisa's breakthrough came when she calculated the true cost of ownership. Her $489 payment was just the start. Add insurance, gas, maintenance, and depreciation, and that affordable sedan cost $892 per month. Switching to a used car with a $280 payment saved her $7,344 annually. The 50/30/20 emergency rule isn't about deprivation. It's about creating financial margin. By getting her survival expenses to 48% of income, Lisa could cover all basics working just 24 hours per week at $15 per hour. Say no to predatory gigs during slow months. Invest $300 per month in dividend stocks as a backup plan. Most budgets fail because they're too complex. Lisa's spreadsheet, your financial fortress blueprint. Let's piece together your financial fortress as a unified system, a coordinated defense with clear deadlines. The key isn't just knowing what to do, it's executing the right steps in the right order. Many people focus on one area, like paying off debt or saving cash, but that leaves dangerous gaps when a crisis hits. You need all 5 layers working together, and here's how to make it happen. Economic downturns don't come with a formal announcement. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, the average recession warning arrives just 3 months before the impact. By the time the headlines scream recession, it's often too late to prepare. But if you start today, you can build a system that not only protects you, but positions you to thrive. Take Julia, for example. She implemented this system in 2019 and entered 2020 with $22,000 in savings, 0 credit card debt, and 3 income streams. When COVID hit, she didn't just weather the storm. She bought stocks at March 2020 lows and added $18,000 to her net worth by year's end. To get started, prioritize by vulnerability. Ask yourself, 1. What's my biggest immediate threat? Credit card debt? Relying on one income source. 2. Which protection can I implement fastest? Budget cuts are quicker than investment changes. 3. What requires ongoing maintenance? Side hustles need more time than setting up a high-yield savings account. Let's briefly touch on the warning signs. Historical patterns show consistent lead times between key indicators and recessions. For example, when the yield curve inverts, meaning short-term interest rates exceed long-term rates, a recession follows within 14 months 87% of the time. Similarly, when unemployment rises by 0.5% from its low, a downturn typically hits within 8 months. Right now, both signals are flashing. The 10 to 2-year Treasury spread inverted in July 2023, and unemployment has risen from 3.4% to 3.9% as of early 2024. In simple terms, these are red flags that the economy is heading for trouble. Here's your step-by-step 30/60/90-day plan to build your financial fortress. First 30 days. Financial triumph. 1. Pull your credit report from annualcreditreport.com. Not a free score site. Errors on your report can drop your score by 20 to 100 points, potentially costing you thousands in higher interest rates if you need credit later. One viewer discovered a $9,000 medical bill incorrectly listed as unpaid, which was dragging their score down. 2. Implement Lisa's 50/30/20 emergency budget. Cut all non-essential spending until your survival expenses are below 50% of your income. 3. Open a high-yield savings account, Ally, Marcus, or Discover, and set up automatic transfers for 10% of your take-home pay. Even $200 a week builds a $10,000 cushion in a year. 4. List all your debts from smallest to largest. Call each creditor to negotiate lower interest rates. Use this script. I'm working to pay this off faster. Would you reduce the APR if I commit to a $X monthly payment? Days 31 to 60. Income and debt assault. 1. Launch at least one income stream using David's model. Freelancing platforms like Upwork see a surge in signups during recessions, so establish yourself before the competition floods in. 2. Attack your smallest debt using the Avalanche method. Funnel every dollar saved from budget cuts into extra payments while maintaining minimums on other debts. 3. Adjust your investments. Allocate 30% to dividend stocks, 15% to gold ETFs, and 20% to short-term treasuries. Continue buying index funds, but only when the market drops by 5% or more. 4. Set up credit card alerts for all your cards. Any charge over $50 should trigger a text notification. One viewer reduced their impulse spending by 63% using this simple strategy. Days 61 to 90. Fortification. 1. Expand your emergency cash reserves to cover 6 to 8 months of essential expenses. 2. Freeze your credit with all 3 bureaus. It takes just 5 minutes online and prevents fraudsters from opening accounts in your name during chaotic times. 3. Add a second income stream, ideally passive like Elena's online courses. Platforms like Udemy report that course creators earn 22% more during recessions. 4. Practice living on 70% of your income and save the rest. If you can't do this voluntarily now, forced austerity during a crisis will be much harder. To help you implement this plan, download our free recession survival guide, which has already been used by over 10,000 viewers. It includes Mike's debt payoff calculator spreadsheet with Avalanche and snowball comparisons, Lisa's 50/30/20 emergency, budget template with detailed category breakdowns, Elena's dividend stock watch list, updated monthly, David's exact Upwork profile that landed $4,200 per month in gigs, credit negotiation scripts for mortgages, car loans, and medical bills. One critical insight: your credit score becomes a financial lifeline during crises. Julia's 780 score allowed her to refinance her car at 3.9% when others were paying over 9%. Secure a 0% APR balance transfer card and get a low-rate personal loan for emergency roof repairs. Compare that to Mark, who ignored his 620 score until he needed credit. He ended up paying $9,000 extra in interest over 3 years. This system works because it's sequenced. You can't aggressively pay off debt without cash reserves, a lesson learned from Sarah. Investments won't protect you without multiple income streams, as David discovered. And no strategy holds up without Lisa's budget discipline. Here's your reality check. Open a blank document right now and title it Financial Fortress Progress. Each week, track these 5 metrics. 1. Cash reserve balance, plus $. 2. Debts eliminated, list them. 3. Income streams launched, hours spent/earnings. 4. Credit score changes. 5. Budget leaks plugged. Think of it like a video game. One viewer shared their progress after 6 months, starting with a net worth of minus $18,000 and climbing to plus $6,100, even after a pay cut. Their secret? They treated each financial move as earning points toward leveling up their security. Before we wrap, let's bust 3 myths that could derail your progress. Myth number 1. I need a perfect credit score. False. Anything above 720 gets you the best rates. Myth number 2. Gold is only for doomsday preppers. Actually, central banks bought 1,136 tons of gold last year. They know something. Myth number 3? Well, Here's the cold truth. The next recession won't ask if you're ready. But after today, you've got no excuses. Others have built cash cushions, crushed debt, flipped losses into gains, replaced salaries, and slashed budgets. Now it's your turn. Grab our free recession survival guide below. It's packed with every tool, script, and spreadsheet you need. Start one step this weekend. Stack another next week. In 90 days, you'll sleep better than 95% of people glued to scary headlines. Will you act before it's too late? Survivors don't wait. They build